Hello everyone, welcome to LexTech Meet 3.0. My name is Amok Tiwari and I am serving as a moderator for this episode. Today we are discussing on the topic of Metaverse. Metaverse is witnessing millions of dollars worth of investment from investors in fashion industry and companies like Microsoft, Tencent Gaming, Meta, which is formerly known as Facebook, Qualcomm, etc. Furthermore, our theater recently opened its multiplex in Party Night Metaverse platform. Today, we have among ourselves Ms. Sristhi Assudani, Director of SettleMint, which is a powerful in-browser blockchain development platform. Ms. Sristhi was the student of Computer Science and Engineering and obtained her degree from GGSIPU in 2006. Ms. Sristhi is also an alumni of IIM Bangalore in 2011. She carries demonstrated history of 15 years in the tech industry. As a director of SettleMint, Ms. Srishti helps enterprises in delivering DLT applications across multiple sectors with her deep functional expertise of blockchain and distributed ledger platforms like Hyperledger and Corda. Ms. Srishti was featured by MIT Center for Future Skills Excellence as one of the top women in blockchain leaders in the second International Virtual Summit Women Frontier in Exponential Technology 2022. Ms. Srishti is also an active contributor to the community work for blockchain advocacy as an ambassador and active contributor of Hyperledger India chapter. She has been involved with startups as a chief revenue officer, mentor, co-contributor, and program director. She has expanded her research activities to become an evangelist, an ambassador, and educator for blockchain initiatives. Ms. Srishti, it is a pleasure to have you on the board.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting, and it's a pleasure to be on board.
Certainly, Ms. Srishti, starting with our first question. As we all know that owning a real estate is a dream of lifetime for every individual, but owning a land in metaverse is a concept common people are finding hard to grasp. Could you provide us a brief on what is metaverse and what we mean by the ownership in metaverse?
So I think, Amog, to start with, is we'd like to put context to what metaverse essentially is. It's kind of elaborating and leveraging on the Internet 3.0 or the Web 3.0, which we're talking about, where we are trying to bridge or kind of get on board in the same space the virtual worlds already existing. Technology is already available for a very long time. Digital assets and user interaction in one space, and that in simple terms would explain what metaverse is. So essentially, it would provide the user an immersive experience of virtual environments where apart from experiencing, you can engage in activities as well as engage in trade. So that's the first part. But when we talk about the ownership in metaverse, or when we say about an acquisition of real estate in the metaverse, so that would come from two parts. One definitely is when we say about metaverse, it's a conglomerate of multiple technological stack, right? Like we say that it's a 7 layers, and essentially we are in a very early or primitive stages of metaverse as of now. But when we talk about ownership, that is essentially coming from the use of NFTs, which would be, in simple terms, smart contracts which are being delivered through DLT technologies or blockchain technologies. That gives a kind of ownership to the user with respect to the content. We say the UGC, user generated content, and also from a code or an asset standpoint. So that would be from a metaverse perspective. But there are other areas where we are seeing more of an endowment effect, that while we are in a metaverse and there are assets being possessed by people, there is more of an added value which people and users are experiencing. So I think, to answer the last part of it, where we say that how the users would acquire lands in metaverse. Of course, right now it's limited to few of the lands which are being built, but in a very near time, say 5 to 7 years, there would be big companies companies having their own farm of lands, and users could definitely possess their own lands and set up their own facilities in the metaverse.
Surely they will. Uh, Moving on to the second question, we have created metaverse and populated it with avatars controlled by the participants in it. However, there are several incidences of groping, assaulting, and even raping witnessed by the avatars in the metaverse. These are punishable offenses and requires proper adjudication by the court of law. Could you share some insights as to what technical rules are there to govern conduct of such avatars introduced from the developer side, and what primary safeguards are present for victim avatars to raise these issues?
Hmm. So yes, of course, there has been an instance where an unfortunate event like this has happened in very recent past, and just to counteract on that, the governing protocol or Meta Labs for per se has implemented a tool where there is a personal boundary. That needs to be implemented, which would uh, kind of maintain the in avoid the invasion of the personal space for the avatar. That's one. And another thing, of course, there are already other tools available where you can raise alarms if there is an event. But in such an instant which was happened, it was more of a shock to the avatar, and those actions were not taken. So certain rules are already available. But when we talk about on a large front regulations and governance on such actions, I think there still needs to be some massive work which needs to be done on that. And we also need to realize that we're trying to simulate the real environment in the virtual world. So these challenges would definitely be coming, and there would be very work being done as per the nuance of the events.
Certainly, there has to be some great amount of work that requires from the education part of you and governance of avatars in the metaverse. Moving on to our third question. To gain an experience in metaverse, a whole set of electronic gadgets are required that may cost around $390 or approximately 30,000 rupees. If metaverse be scaled in future, will it be accessible to general public? And if yes, will the prices of these gadgets will be lowered?
Uh, so I think, Amog, right now we are in very primitive stages of the metaverse, and in the next 7 to 8 years, we expect that the metaverse would be scaled to a uh, much larger spectrum, where not only this would be limited to an immersive environment where games are being done, but also where trade would be done. You could have events, you could visit events and ticketing, and of course exchanges with banks, and a lot of opportunity is there. So with that being said, of course, these obstacles or roadblocks which we see in the massive adoption of metaverse with respect to the gadgets cost would definitely be have to be worked out, so that the larger audience can have access to it. But yes, that would still be some time from now.
Certainly, ma'am. Our fourth question would be: what is the perspective of the metaverse? Is it an unavoidable phenomenon as we see a lot of investment is coming to it, or it is just a passing popular tech concept that will fade eventually?
So of course, with new technologies, there's whenever there is a new innovative technology, we also there is also a hype associated, and of course we do realize that metaverse is not a new technology. It's been there for a very long time, where there is big gains using these technologies, and there's a lot of work. But when we say that, of course, metaverse is there for going to be for a long time, is comes from the fact that it's been seen as a completely new economy, and it's being endorsed by the big banks like JP Morgan, Citibank, to name a few, where what they feel is that in these virtual worlds, Metaverses would encompass a whole new GDPs, new currencies, and own populations. So that's like a very big opportunity. um, so I would say that, with each innovative technology that comes, there's always a big hype, and there's a hype which is associated. Something similar, and a lot of resistance was shown to blockchain technology also in the very early stages. I think metaverse is also facing that resistance as of now. But my personal opinion would definitely be that this is something which is unavoidable, because this is a new way of engagement. We would have definitely going forward a life where we'll be, like currently we are moving in and out of the digital worlds where we are interacting in virtual meetings. Going ahead, there would be a life where we would be, moving to and fro between metaverse worlds, where there would be engagements in games, there would be engagements in banks. That being said, big companies are currently, accumulating experience of what is the tangible benefit of the technology like metaverse, and JP Morgan, in a sense, feels that there is a complete economy that is residing in the metaverse and the virtual worlds. So they can be evaluated with their own GDPs, with their own currencies, and that is massive potential. So I don't think that this is a hype or would go away. But I do agree that there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the technology stand, the infrastructure, and that globally people are working on, all the developers on that.
Certainly. Uh, to conclude, I would like to say that metaverse is in its nascent stage, and as mentioned by Ms. Srishti, that lot of work is to be done with technological aspect, and after that, a lot of work has to be done from the governance point of view. Thank you, Ms. Srishti, for joining us today and giving your valuable time and sharing your insightful thoughts. For our audience, if you have any questions and doubts, you can always leave your comments below and we will be happy to answer them. For more of such videos and insightful discussions, subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon.
Thank you so much.